Hey everybody, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
And this is the Movie Pals Podcast, podcast number 199. Today we are finally finishing our voyage into Star Trek with a review of Star Trek Section 31, as well as reviewing possibly the final Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Let's get into it. So if you are joining us for the first time into Voyage into Star Trek, we apologize because this is the last one. We have reviewed every single motion picture Star Trek film, as they consider it, right?
to date.
To date, as of today, which is Tuesday, May 27, 2025. With that being said, we've given a little behind-the-scenes trivia, fun facts about the movies themselves. So this one is for Star Trek Section 31. Which is a Paramount Plus exclusive streaming film. Let me give you some behind-the-scenes facts. The origin of Star Trek Section 31 goes all the way back to 2019, when CBS first announced that Michelle Yeoh would headline a spin-off series focused on her character, Emperor Philippa Georgiou. At the time, this was meant to be a full-fledged television show continuing the story after Star Trek Discovery Season 2, but after years of development delays, corporate reshuffling at CBS and Paramount, and changes to the overall Star Trek streaming strategy, the project was reimagined as a one-off streaming film instead. What's interesting is that Section 31 is now the very first Star Trek movie produced exclusively for streaming, debuting on Paramount Plus. This marks a major shift in how Trek content is delivered, bridging the gap between traditional TV episodes and theatrical films.
Michelle Yeoh began filming Star Trek Section 31 only a few weeks after winning the Academy Award for Best Actress for Everything Everywhere All at Once. At that point, Yeoh had become one of the most in-demand actresses in Hollywood. Despite that, she remained committed to Star Trek and was instrumental in reviving the Section 31 project as a film. She reportedly insisted the story not just focus on action and espionage, but explore deeper ideas about identity, redemption, and legacy. Yeoh has said that playing Georgiou was one of her most fulfilling roles, particularly because the character evolves from a ruthless emperor to someone questioning her place in the universe.
Section 31 brings one of the most controversial and morally gray aspects of the Star Trek universe to the forefront. The secretive agency known as Section 31 operates completely outside Federation oversight, making decisions based on cold logic, espionage, and preemptive strikes. It essentially acts as a shadow government, handling threats before they happen, often by any means necessary. In many ways, the movie mirrors real-world concerns about surveillance threats, national security overreach, and unchecked power within the so-called utopias. The tagline, "Protect the future at any cost," sums up the tone perfectly, suggesting a darker, more complex take on what it really means to uphold peace in the galaxy.
While Section 31 is pitched as a high-stakes spy thriller, the filmmakers made a conscious effort to ground a story in emotional depth and personal transformation. Director Olatunde Osunsanmi described the movie as a character piece with action elements, emphasizing that Georgiou's internal journey is the heart of the film. Rather than focusing purely on visual effects or spectacle, the story explores whether a person shaped by cruelty and authoritarianism, like Emperor Georgiou, can truly change. This approach helps the movie stand out from other action-heavy sci-fi films, which sometimes sacrifice emotional stakes for big set pieces.
And with that being said, let's get into a review of Star Trek Section 31.
What are you doing in my space station?
I'm giving you a chance to get back in on the action on a galactic scale.
What a cute idea. The only way this works is if I know exactly what I'm dealing with.
We're facing a threat unlike anything Starfleet's ever seen.
Billions of lives are at stake. Gather your people. We're gonna need every one of them.
Star Trek Section 31. It is currently sitting with a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
The synopsis,
It's the lowest one.
We've said so many things about this film so far. I'd like to talk about it more in a second here. So the synopsis is that Emperor Philippa Georgiou joins a secret division of Starfleet tasked with protecting the United Federation of Planets and must face the sins of her past. As mentioned earlier, the film is directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi who did The Cavern in 2005, The Fourth Kind in 2009, as well as a few episodes of Star Trek Discovery. This was written by Craig Sweeney, who had written parts of Medium, the TV series Limitless, and the show The Code. This, of course, is based upon Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry and was released on January 24th of this year, 2025, on Paramount+. The film stars Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh as Philippa Georgiou, Omari Hardwick as Alok, Sam Richardson as Quasi, Robert Kaczynski as Zeph, Casey Roll as Rachel Garrett, Sven Ruigrok as Fuzz and Wisp, James Hiroyuki Liao as San, Humberly Gonzalez as Mel, and Joe Pingyu as Dada No. So I kind of already know the answer to this, but I'm just going to go and talk to the ones that I know may not have any actually history with this series, or maybe they have a little bit. So I'm going to go with you, James. Have you actually seen Star Trek Discovery, the kind of basis of what this movie's on?
Nope, never seen a single episode of anything. I've never seen. Yeah, I've never watched any real Star Trek TV shows. So nope, I've never seen Star Trek Discovery. So
okay, all right, interesting. Let me ask you, Mikey. Any history with Star Trek Discovery specifically?
I have seen the first 3 seasons. I think it was. I think there's 5 total, but I haven't seen the last 2 seasons. I stopped for a little while watching other stuff, and then I just never really returned to 4. Not that I didn't like the show, but just I don't know, just never had a reason to go back, I guess.
Never got a chance. Well, I know I've never seen anything on Star Trek Discovery, so I'm going to ask Marco, have you seen Star Trek Discovery?
I've seen 2.5 seasons. Similar to Mikey, I just haven't really found a reason to go back and watch it. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's okay. It's pretty good. I keep telling myself I should go back and finish it, but I end up just choosing to watch something else.
Before we move a little bit forward, just to ask about Star Trek Discovery for you and Mikey, do you feel that this movie does have a pretty good correlation for what you've seen? I don't know how much Section 31 is actually a part of the series, or how involved it is in as far as a correlation between the two, but do you feel like there's a good connection between the two as far as we've seen in this movie and the series you've seen so far?
From what I've seen of Discovery, to a point, yeah. Section 31 does have a little bit of a presence in that show, and it is sort of your introduction to Emperor Giorgio. For that, I feel like you become a little more familiar with the character through the show.
Yeah, this is really like an extension of Giorgio's storyline. She kind of disappears in season 3. You don't really know what happens to her, and I guess this is kind of the story of what happened to her. Beyond that, though, Section 31 is like just like a mystery in all the series. I don't think any other show actually mentions them too much, but it's really
they mentioned them in the new Kelvin timeline. I think for
just like a line or two, right?
Like Star Trek Into Darkness. I think the whole militaristic unit is Section 31, right? I think.
Yeah, they have sprinkled presence in Deep Space Nine, and I think the show Enterprise features them the most, from what I remember. And like
that's actually one I haven't seen, so makes sense.
Yeah, in their last season, it's like one of the major players in the season.
So I mean, other than just brief mentions of them here and there, and knowing that they exist, they don't really go into it though, as far as the stuff I've seen. So I don't know too much about it here. And then, like I said, it just kind of extends Giorgio's kind of presence, but I didn't see too much correlation between the two.
Well, on that, Mikey, going back to you, what did you actually think about this movie, just generally speaking?
I mean, I feel like they tried to pull off like this espionage vibe kind of movie, and they just didn't hit the mark at all. They had some like decent scenes with some of the CG and some of the character dialogue between the two, but like some of the casts. But other than Michelle Yeoh, I don't think anybody really kind of knocked it out of the park or did a suitable job to kind of make me want to watch this movie, or kind of watch more of this movie, I should say, like another series or another show, another movie. It really just didn't hit the mark on what it was trying to do. I think it's kind of messy storyline wise. It doesn't really have a focus on one type of movie. It kind of morphs itself in a couple different themes throughout. Sure. So just didn't really hit the mark for me.
How about you, James? Any thoughts on the movie briefly?
I watched a film here that features a person with a troubled past, gets in with a gang of goofy individuals to obtain something and come back. It's a powerful weapon, right? But enough about Solo, a Star Wars story. Star Trek Section 31 was terrible, guys. This was really bad. I thought it was like Mikey said, it almost tries to do like that Ocean's 11 vibe somewhat, but the production value is really cheap in this one. I thought it was very confusing overall still. I tried to follow along. Like I said, I have no background on this at all. I was trying to follow along with it. Some of the action's okay, but it's a movie that's only like an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was 2 hours long, and that's never a good feeling. So it was just kind of throwing me off. It just, everybody felt like really, I didn't care about any of the characters either. And I mean, we'll jump into that, but yeah, I thought this was absolutely the worst Star Trek film we've seen so far.
Well, jumping into that, Marco, what were your thoughts on the overall story?
Nabil, I wish I could go back in time and stop myself from watching this movie. I wish I could go back and tell us, no. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. I want to delete this movie from my brain, if you can even call it a movie. It's really more like a over glamorized TV special.
Yeah,
100%. I agree with these guys. It's terrible, dude. It's absolutely terrible. Not just the fact that you have these, characters you don't care about, but you have a storyline that's a jumbled mess. A movie that lacks identity. You don't know if it wants to be a sci-fi movie, an action movie, an espionage movie, a love story. You don't know what it wants to be. An apocalyptic movie, I guess, to a point, because
revenge.
A revenge story.
Kind of.
Man, it was very hard to get through the dialogue. James mentioned that it's an hour and a half movie. I was 24 minutes in. And I looked at the timer and I was like, I have an hour left, and I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can make it. It took 3 attempts for me to watch this monstrosity. It was just that bad. I think Mikey was right that Michelle Yeoh is probably the only saving grace, but they botched her dialogue in this. Even
everything was so.
Even she couldn't save this movie, sadly enough. So
yeah, I mean, I agree, especially with Michelle Yeoh. I think that she was trying to find I know we went through the whole behind the scenes of what this film is, and if you all were listening,
they had good intentions.
Yeah, there was a lot of like, oh, we want to ground it, we want to be more emotional, we don't want to just focus on the spectacle. I didn't get any of that. I don't. If there was a script that had a lot of emotion in it, this definitely is not what ended up them filming.
And if they showed where it's at. That bar / club one more time, an outside shot of it.
Oh my god!
I was gonna do something that I was gonna regret.
Dude, it's the same shot too.
Yeah, it was.
A fucking recycled shot.
Yeah,
I'm aware.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. The dialogue was bad. The action was okay especially for a TV based off a TV series, even though it's supposed to be a movie. And that's what we're reviewing it as a movie. I don't know if it's up to the level it should be, because of that.
Man, I really want to check out these Star Trek shows now.
Nabil, I saw a 4-part Star Trek Voyager episode that was made a better movie than this, and that's really sad. That show was made back in like 1998.
I love Star Trek Voyager. It's great.
I'm doing Star Trek for a bit, boys.
I can't. Tapped out. That's it.
I was like a quarterback calling a timeout. Like he doesn't like to play.
It left Jimmy scarred.
I feel like we have a lot to talk about that doesn't work. But before we do that, let's talk just if we have anything of what does work. I'm going to say for me, the one thing that I did like, I was surprised at how nice it looked from like a graphical perspective and a production. I know you didn't like it, James, but I did like the sets. I thought they were colorful. They seemed very empty, so they weren't useful.
I mean, they used them quite a bit, by the way. I swear to God, I can't believe the first 30, 40 minutes was still like in the bar. I was like, we're still here, man?
Yeah, but they were getting their money's worth for them.
Or, I mean, then you can look at Sand Ship, and I'm like, kind of a lot of space in that cockpit, man.
That's what I was thinking. This is a big ship for just one guy.
Yeah. No other chairs. Guys literally sitting on the stairs. Okay.
So, like,
Oh, God.
visually, they look nice. They just weren't really filled or used, or I don't know what they were trying to do with it. But I did like what they were like. If that's how this TV series works or it looks, I'd be like, okay, I might watch a TV series. Again, for a movie, though, not very well used.
Well, they
Well,
use
I mean,
the same technology that they had in Discovery. So the same
Okay.
technology, same builds and all that kind of stuff. They just, in my opinion, they just look incomplete. So
Yeah,
they do look good. They just look like they're not finished yet.
Yeah.
I honestly think they look better in the TV show than they do
Oh,
in the
yeah,
in the
definitely.
movie.
Yeah.
It's like if you were impressed by this, Bill, if you watch a couple episodes of the TV show, you'd be like, whoa, where was this budget?
I mean, yeah, if you're impressed by this, there's a show called Blue's Clues, and they got some pretty good stuff too.
Did you know that they made a real life person and animated dog in the same room? Like, how did they do that?
Yeah, if you're impressed by this, yeah, that might blow your mind.
Is there anything redeeming about the film? Anything that you guys feel did work that we could talk about?
I think the premise of Philippa and her ex lover, I think they had something there.
I think they should have
And it's
just
just-
focused on that, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that intro, that opening was actually
'Cause I was
not
like-
that bad.
Yeah,
Like
I was like,
that-
oh, what's going on here? This is crazy.
Their interaction has the most chemistry and like the best acting and delivered lines in the entirety of everything. And they could have just ran with that, and it probably would have made a more interesting movie, maybe a little less action packed, but I think story wise and dialogue wise, it would have worked better. What they came up with though was unfortunately trash.
Yeah, I think it had good bones, right? Like Marco saying, those two had. I even like some of the characters, the idea behind the characters, just the way they were portrayed, just didn't come off well. So it's kind of like everything we're saying is like only partially finished. So some of the characters seem kind of cool, but then they start talking, and you're like, okay,
The only one I even remotely liked was probably Sam Richardson's Quasi. I actually like that guy.
Yeah.
He's a funny actor, and I think it fit the role, but he's kind of the comedic relief in a way because he can morph into things,
I mean,
kind
yeah.
of, or he's like some kind of squid-like looking creature. I don't really know.
And that was the issue, is they try to make everyone the comedic relief, but if they just would have kept him as that, I think it would have been a lot better.
You're right. Everybody's, oh man, it's so weird. Mikey even brought it. We were talking about this yesterday, and it's like, it's weird they have like two intros too. Like you see when she calls them out and calls it out, and then when she's on the ship, then they're like, let me introduce myself for real now. And I'm like, dude, we already got this, man. Like, we don't need this shit. So
We've seen who they are.
yeah, they're like, hey, look at me. I'm a mech guy. Yeah, you know StarCraft, right? Or whatever. I don't know what the hell we are.
I am the suit.
Anything specific that you just want to call out didn't work? Like the biggest thing. I'm going to go to you, James. Like, what do you think was like, why is this in this movie?
One.
I was like,
One
the
thing.
fact that Mikey shares his password with me and he has to pay for this on Paramount Plus. That's the thing that works. The biggest issue would be it's the writing. It's really the writing and the direction of it all. It's almost like it's like a spy thriller, then it's like an action set piece with a mystery whodunit, and then it turns into a revenge plot. Like they just don't get what they want to do. Honestly, it's just it jumps back and forth too much times, and you never settle on anything really throughout the film. You never get a chance to really understand where everyone's coming from. Like, there's no character development outside of maybe Michelle Yeoh's character to a point, but it's still just told through flashbacks. I never really got I never got the sense that she really changes by the end, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that there's something missing for her. If it's supposed to be a redemption arc, we don't really even see the arc. It's just kind
Not
of
really.
She's put into
She
a
owns
situation under circumstance.
club or bar, I think. I
Right.
don't know. I was I was lying. Like, there was 25 minutes left to this movie. If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what was going on in the plot. I'd be like, well, I'm dead. So
It
I
also
was out
kind
there,
of just
dude. This is a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy moment for me to Bill. I was trying to look it up on Wikipedia. I was like, what am I watching right now? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, I got lost at the very end. I was like, so what are they trying to, are they trying to destroy the thing? Like, what's happening?
I was
here?
like, the music box thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
So,
thought it was
is
weird
that the
too.
thing
There's
from the
called
last
the
Star
Godsend.
Trek?
It's just a weird
Yeah.
name for him
I
too.
was like, is it from the last Star Trek that took their soul or something that Idris Elba used questionably?
Yeah, that's right.
It didn't help that, and I know we already brought up the characters, but really they're not memorable. Like I don't remember or care about any of them. They're not fleshed out even remotely.
Well, I mean, you got Amari. He looks like the Idris Elba guy.
Well, they kill
Quasi's a funny guy.
one of the characters at the beginning. Like she's just gone.
Yeah,
I thought
I mean,
there was something she's gonna come
Zeph's
back.
he's supposed to be a grunt.
Yeah, as if
Rachel
they're
Garrett's the white chick. I don't know.
they are all stereotypes of what they're supposed to be. The fact
Right.
that they even get like Starfleet wrong, and the fact that like Miss Goody Two Shoes is all like, I'm all about like proper etiquette and all this. I'm
See,
like,
but that's I guess
dude, no
I
one's a
read it
robot
into
in
it.
Star Trek, bruh. Like,
It's
relax.
because she becomes somebody in the next generation or something. But so that's like their little connection, I guess. I don't know. It's
guess.
terrible.
Yeah, I'd be glad to never see these characters ever again, and I'm glad
guess
that we
what?
probably
No, I'm just
won't.
kidding.
Is that what?
But I think
Is
that really
that part
stems
two?
down to, just kind of touching on what Marco said, that you don't really get some of these characters. I think it's all because they all try to do the same thing with each character. Every character tries to do or accomplish the same exact thing with their character in this movie, where they could have just been different people coming together as a group, and I think that would have worked way
But
better.
Mikey,
Have
there's a Suicide Squad.
once in a
What do
while.
you mean? They're all crazy. They're working in the dark web or whatever. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Well, even to that point, James, like we've been talking about how it jumps to all these different styles. Like in the beginning, it does kind of come off as a dramatic piece at the opener, and then it goes into like this heist film, and then it's kind of like they separate and they're hunting to
Like there's a mole. We have to find the mole, and it turns out I'm like,
a mole.
whoa, it's the thing now. Whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Basically.
the fact that you could point out who the mole was immediately was just kind of sad.
dude!
Yeah.
Immediately I was like, it's only one guy. There's nobody else. It can't be anyone else, guys.
No.
Even I figured that out, and I don't figure those stuff out. So, you know it's bad if I figure
They didn't get
That's the only thing.
this
And then
time,
from
guys.
that point to the end of it, I was like, I've lost what this movie's about at this point.
Suddenly it's a revenge film for some reason, but then she or he forgives her and is like, you know what, you weren't so
After
bad.
she slices his neck open, he's like, I didn't eat you.
And it wasn't earned. That's why they should have
It
just
wasn't. It wasn't.
I don't want to like rewrite the movie, but if they just focused on her and him,
It would have
and the
helped.
fact that the most important thing to Emperor Giorgio is her power and her authority, and him challenging that by taking over her old empire and stuff would have been enough. And her just wanting to get that back, and then coming to realize, I don't need that shit. I have this fucking shitty bar over here. Like that would have been enough, and then they're reconnecting everything. That's where I thought this was going to go, and I was like, oh, this will be like an interesting kind of like love quarrel, I guess. It wasn't that. It was just a complete smorgasbord of just bad stuff that just didn't work.
Well, for Marco and Mikey, let me ask: do you think that if we had seen, like, if James and I saw Star Trek Discovery and saw some of the arc of Section 31, or at least of Michelle Yeoh's character, that we would feel any kind of connection to this movie?
No,
No.
Okay.
Nice.
not at all, dude.
Nice.
You would get to know Giorgio's character a little better, but that's about it. And she's already the best thing in this movie, so it really wouldn't help you push you into a better vibe or anything with this movie.
She struggles more with her identity in the show than she does in her own movie.
All right, so I think we've talked quite a bit about the characters, and we've got a feel for them.
Yeah.
But just to focus a bit more on the look of the film,
You can just
I know
you can just wrap this fucker up, Nabil.
I brought up the production, but did anybody feel any other way about the effects, especially for? Let me say it like this: did you see the money put into the effects in this movie?
Apparently, the budget
show.
of this was like what 2 episodes of Discovery costs like $14 to $20 million, and it shows. There's a scene where the other ship hooks onto the other scene, and where Marco described it as 1996 graphics, and I couldn't agree more. So that's my opinion on it.
It's so fucking true. I think the majority of the good effects was used up in the intro of the movie on that planet in the flashback. That was it.
Definitely.
Everything else, like even when they're fighting, that there's a whole action set piece in the tunnel when they're all fighting, and I was like, maybe this will be good. No, it's just a bunch of jump shots to hide the shitty special effects. I'm like, okay,
because they're moving fast. That's why.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
I really
I
like
did
all
like
the
the
scenes in the
fighting.
bar.
Yeah, I like the fighting in the bar. That's the one thing that I was like, okay, if it's all going to be like these little fight scenes, that might be okay. Where they were jumping, through the rooms, and she had the little whatever thing that was changing her frequency. I was like, okay, mostly because I got some Yo fight. Like she can fight, obviously, so she was kicking butt. But
Yeah.
anybody else
even-
jumping, I was like, I
I don't even remember that fight in the bar. What do you mean?
Where they got the MacGuffin, the little device, and they were running across the
And
bar.
she's like, the Dune scene where they're like zoning in and out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. Gotcha.
it's okay, James. My brain was dying.
He's like,
I was like,
"Looks
thinking,
like
I'm
a
like, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay.
Right. All right. So, what do we think about how the movie ended? Do we even care, honestly,
No.
about what the ending is here? No.
I don't think anything was resolved.
It's trying to do that love thing, but once again, they should have leaned more into that then.
Well,
There's
and
so
she
much
goes back.
unnecessary subplot with the Section 31 people that it's like, if this was the main focus, like focus on this part then, man.
Well, she goes back to the bar, and they're all there, and they're basically like gonna go do a different mission. So she's like now a part of.
Yeah, that's like the
Section
epilogue.
31.
I'm talking about like with Sam
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, they were like, hey, maybe people will watch this.
She could have discovered who she was without that dumb MacGuffin, the World Ender, whatever it was called.
All right.
Which we don't even know what it does. I'm like, I don't know.
The stories.
All the engineers killed themselves, I guess.
Right.
The godsend.
Or is it God's End?
God's End.
I didn't think that was funny.
Look at us. We're part of Section 31, Mikey.
We're making fun of our own shitty name. It's great. Let's give our rating for this film and any final thoughts that you might have. I'm going to go with you, Marco. What did you rate this film?
Half star.
Half star. All right. James, how about yourself?
It's a 1 star for me. I don't do half stars.
How about you, Mikey?
I didn't even know we could do a half star.
You theoretically can. I say 1 through 5 technically.
I'll give it a 1. But
So
I didn't know you could do a
1
half.
star. I wish I could give it a half star. It's a 1 star, dude.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
I give it 1.5 because of the fighting.
Dude, I swear to God, if Nabil said 3 I had a feeling. I was like, is he about to say 3, dude?
Right
No one
up there,
Nabil's
guys.
history with like rating things. You're like, oh, overall, I thought it still looked okay.
It was fine, yeah. All right, so that is our wrap up of all the theatrically released and streaming release.
I would say motion picture
Star Trek films.
films. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So it's been a very long journey. There's a lot of films that we went through, different generations.
Took like a year. This was like a year.
Yeah. It was fun though. I let me get some thoughts here. I'll go with you, Marco, because you are like the Star Trek guy in this group. What did you think about rewatching all these films or going through it? Did you enjoy the journey?
It was a stretch for the most part because I grew up also on Star Trek. I enjoyed the majority of the films and reconnecting with them. Obviously, there were some I wish were a little better, but there were some nostalgic elements to it, specifically with the Generation crew. I'm like, all right, I grew up watching these guys on TV. Gonna give them a little slight pass here and there, but overall, it was interesting. It was fun and interesting.
What do we say? Marco
What
missed
is that?
3 of the episodes. God damn it! What are you talking about?
I did watch the movies though. I did watch the movies.
Yeah, sure you did.
I sure
James,
did.
did it make you a Star Trek fan going through this series?
Not at all. Not one bit. Didn't change from the beginning. I gotta say, we rough landing, boys. Right? God damn. We took our voyage, and I was holding the wall. I was like, "Oh shit!" This guy know how to fly a plane. It was still fun though. It was nice to like rewatch. And like I said, I've seen them all before. It's just been a long time, and obviously this is the first time I watched them all in 4K. So it's cool to see them in arguably like the best they've ever looked.
He loved watching a young Tom Hardy, so you know.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, look at me. I'm dying. I'm dying now." Overall, though, it was kind of one of those things where a majority of them to me were still pretty bad. So
Yeah.
there was like 1 or 2 gems in there, though, that I found and that I'll hold dear to my heart. But outside of that, I think, like I said, I wasn't joking. I think I'm done with Star Trek for a while.
Well, I mean, unless you're going to watch the TV series, I think you're okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Didn't even cross my mind, Nabil. Didn't even cross my mind, and it still hasn't. So,
How about your thoughts, Mikey, going through this voyage with us?
I've actually really enjoyed it. I don't know why I don't come
look at
back to
this
these
little
movies.
positive motherfucker.
I mean, I just don't come back to these movies for whatever reason. Like, my dad loves the series, so I'm always seeing him watch the show all the time. He's watching reruns day in, day out. And I watched a few of these episodes with him, so that kind of helped out a little bit on some of the earlier movies. But it just, I don't know why, I just never come back to these movies,
Did your
and I just
dad
really
watch this
enjoyed.
one?
He did
Section
not.
31?
Yeah, he did not.
Keep him away from it.
And I was actually going to rewatch it with him whenever he was ready to watch it, and I'm not going to. So I'm just going to tell him not to watch it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was going to say, the
Good
Section
call.
31 is not only the worst one I've seen, but possibly the worst movie I've seen all year.
by
Yeah.
far.
So this year?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Mike, I think the shows help add to that excitement and fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't finished Strange New Worlds. I'm going to continue that. It's a fantastic show. I'm through season 1 finally, so I'll be continuing that. And I might actually, after this, I might still go and finish up Discovery. So it kind of sparked a little bit of interest in Star Trek a little bit more for me.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed going through this series and seeing all these different motion pictures from the different generations. I still think that some of the films are... well, let me say it like this. I liked to see the perspectives of the different captains and the iterations of Kirk. That was kind of interesting. And it made me kind of feel more connected to Picard. Although not his films, I realized how bad his films were. As far as like a character growth is concerned, like all that is already done in the series, and you were just seeing him, in the movies. So I was like remembering, I think there's a more fondness to that series because of to those series of films because of the actual series itself of Next Generation. So that gave me some new perspective of what I was remembering rewatching some of these. But yeah, it was good to tackle this for the first time, like back to back like this. So any thought? We all know that I'm going to say safely that our worst film here is Section 31. So I don't think there's any arguing of that in what we've
Don't
seen.
answer for me. No, I was kidding.
James is like, actually?
Yeah. How dare you? Yeah, no,
So,
it is. It is.
I'm going to go around and just ask what our favorite of what we've seen is. And I'm going to start with you, Mikey. What was your favorite Star Trek film?
Wrath of Khan, by a fairly large margin, is my favorite. Followed closely by the other Khan movie. I like the remake as well. The
Into
reimagining,
Darkness.
I should say. Into
Yeah.
Darkness, yeah. Both of those are, in my opinion, some of the better written ones, and they're really entertaining overall. They have a lot going on with them. They have people dying, so that's always kind of a good thing. Obviously they come back, but the original one though is just too good. There's a lot of mental stuff going on in that one. There's decent fight scenes. There's just a lot going on. It's just a really entertaining movie, in my opinion.
Sure. All right. How about you, Marco? What was your favorite of our voyage into Star Trek?
I'm a classic guy, so I'm going to say Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country is probably my favorite one in retrospect, followed closely by The Wrath of Khan.
Undiscovered Country, huh?
Dude, it's the first Star Trek movie I ever saw in theaters. I love that movie. I love the way that it ends, and it ends on a hopeful note. Yeah, whatever.
We heard your review.
How about you, James?
It's probably like a tie. I know that's kind of cheating, but it's kind of a tie. Star Trek 2009, I think is really good. No. And I'd say Star Trek 4, The Journey Home. I really liked a lot. So those are the two.
Yeah, I'm kind of between Mikey and James. I think my favorite is tied between Star Trek 2009. I just really love how they rebooted the series, and I thought that was just well executed, even with the lens flare. And then Wrath of Khan, the Star Trek 2 was... I forgot how good that film was, and watching it again and watching it in 4K, I was like, okay, this is a pretty solid entry for...
I was like, is that a bodysuit?
Fuck, I want one.
I thought he was working out, man.
I thought this guy's looking good.
He's a naked gun. I don't get it.
Very plasticky of it.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us on this voyage. I hope you went through and saw all the films as we did, including Section 31. And be sure to share your thoughts with us on all our socials so we can see how much you either suffered or really enjoyed the series.
Or I mean, a lot of people probably skipped this section. So
they might
that's
have.
what according to Janelli, she's like, I just skipped your main reviews. I'm like, you didn't listen to a single one of them? She's like, no. That's cool, I guess. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was cool.
And that's how we end it. This is how it dies.
Let's move on now to our main review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Smart people on every side are close to panicking.
What exactly is your plan?
Your team has been betrayed, Ethan. All your secrets compromised. Everything you are, everything you've done has come to this.
Okay, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is sitting currently at 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. The synopsis is IMF agent Ethan Hunt continues his mission to try and stop a man named Gabriel before he can obtain an AI program that can weaken the world's stability. This is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who also did Jack Reacher in 2012, and a few other Mission Impossible movies: Rogue Nation 2015, Fallout 2018, Dead Reckoning Part 1 in 2023. He also has writing credits as well with Eric Jendrison, who wrote some of the episodes of Band of Brothers in 2001, helped out with Dead Reckoning Part 1 in 2023, and Christopher McQuarrie wrote The Usual Suspects in 1995, Valkyrie in 2008, The Mummy in 2017, and Top Gun Maverick in 2022. This is based upon the television series created by Bruce Skeller, released on May 23rd of 2025 in theaters, and it stars the following: Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, Haley Atwell as Grace, Ving Rhames as Luther Stickle, Simon Pegg as Benji Dunn, Isai Morales as Gabriel, Palm Clementif as Paris, Henry Czerny as Eugene Kittredge, Angela Bassett as Erica Sloan, Nick Offerman as General Sidney, Hannah Waddingham as Rear Admiral Neely, Tremel Tillman as Captain Jack Bledsoe, Shay Wingham as Jasper Briggs, Greg Tarzan Davis, awesome name by the way, as Theo Degas, and Rolf Saxon as Willem Dunlow. Before we get into the review, let's go around and see everybody's thoughts on the movie, and we will start with Nabil.
I'll keep it brief. Good action set pieces. Tom Cruise is a star. They don't trust the audience at the beginning of the film, and I'm a little insulted by that.
Okay. Marco, what are your thoughts?
Actually, pretty freaking awesome. Lots of fun. Great action set pieces. Freaking Tom Cruise pulled it off again, and I was entertained.
Are you not entertained? Thank you. James, how'd you feel?
I had a lot of fun with this, man. It's a good send-off if this really is the last film. This is really like, you see how crazy Tom Cruise is. He's practically Jesus in this movie, and it's nice to see Marco get a role again as Gabriel. Nice little turn of it there. I was like, oh, he's getting work again. Okay, that's nice.
Got a good tan going on.
Yeah, good tan. I was like, oh wow, he looks
nice
good.
to see him scream Richie one more time on screen.
Every time I see him, I just think of the it was fun. The last act, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I had really a fun time with this movie. I like the callbacks it does. I thought it started off kind of weak, but as it goes on, the two main action pieces, they're lengthy and amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about the plot. You guys kind of didn't really say too much. You guys just said, hey, you liked it. That's good. So we got a lot to talk about. So yeah, let's start with Marco. What worked with the plot? What didn't work here for you?
I think what worked was the overall scale. These movies, especially the new ones, or as the series has progressed, have done a really good job at just increasing the stakes every time. Just when you think they can't, they just do exponentially, and it pulls it off. I mean, is it at times a little unbelievable? Yeah, but still, like if you immerse yourself into the series and into these characters, it really gets you. The nostalgia aspect as well too, I think was really good about it. I think Nabil mentioned that they do a little too much, especially at the beginning. It gets a little bit in the way, but I forgave it because this is like essentially the last hurrah of this series, supposedly. So I get it, and I sort of just went with it. At first, it sort of bothered me, but overall, I think that, man, the action, the acting, I know we keep mentioning the set pieces, but dude, I watched the behind the scenes of each of those scenes, and it was just freaking incredible. All those things put together, I think, just make this movie an incredible experience. I saw it with my brother, who we actually marathoned all the entire series leading up to Dead Reckoning Part 1, and we saw that one in theaters, so then we went to go see this one in IMAX, as it should be watched. And I think overall it just makes for a great freaking experience.
All right. James, you have anything to add, or did you want to talk about how it kind of connects with the previous film?
Yeah, it was cool. You know, you have the entity. Gabriel is no longer in the picture because of his failure in the previous film. So we have it, you know, it's taking over nukes throughout the world, and Ethan's tasked by the president this time, which is kind of cool seeing Angela Bassett back in this one. And she's the president. Because they kind of hinted at it in the last movie. They have a photo of her behind the desk of one of the guys. So I was like, wait, she's the president now. And it's like they have to get to Ethan Hunt, but it's also about like people's like morality, I think, too, and the decisions you make that can, you know, decide and have bigger consequences, which I really like the message that it's trying to give. It does start out a bit slow, but it didn't bother me at all. Like, it's still like a 2.5 hour long movie, but it's crazy. Like, this one seems shorter than Section 31, which is crazy, right? So I'm just saying, and I was like, and theoretically, they're both kind of like heist movies, right? Hey, we gotta go get this thing in the submarine. So, you know, it's kind of wild, though. I do like that. It's the sequel that connects the most, but it also has a lot of cool callbacks, which I like.
Yeah, for sure. Well, DeBill, did you have anything to add, or did you want to talk about any of the callbacks James just mentioned, or any history that you wanted to see and didn't get?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the film is great. The action is great. Like everything that we're saying over here, I 100% agree with, and it is an excellent film, especially like James said, the third act. It's an excellent. It's all pays off really well. I think that the entity, they just don't have a strong villain, especially because they kind of lose Gabriel going into this film from what happened to him in the beginning of the last film or throughout the last film. Like, okay, he was a good enough villain based off of his connection with Ethan in the first film, but in the second film, he's kind of just put to the wayside. Like, he's there and we need to still go after him, but it's not the same kind of force. And they rely on this overarching villain, which isn't as strong as some of the past Mission Impossible films that do have kind of stronger villains.
I think in this one, it's more of it's because it's such like a world destroying kind of thing, right? Honestly, right?
So it's like more just on a global scale. It's affecting everybody. So, but to what James's your point earlier about the morality of it, they do really well with kind of focusing on everybody's core beliefs of like what's the right thing to do, what Ethan's doing, what the president's doing, the other military and the other governments. Like, I think that does pay off pretty well, and that does get expressed well. I just don't like that in the beginning is like almost the first hour of the film, maybe first 45 minutes, are presenting the movie as if you didn't see the first one. I get that it wasn't as successful as some of the other films, Dead Reckoning Part 1, but at the same time, I felt like if we're watching this film, you can assume that most of us have seen the first one, that you didn't have to pander to us that much to tell us everything that happened in the back, all the flashbacks, all that. Like, it was a lot for me. And it was out of step of how the other films were. So it kind of threw me off a bit going into it. But once we got past that, I was like, okay, we're in it. I'm good. But it really kind of bothered me seeing all those callbacks to the other ones. Now, I do like that they do have a bunch of Easter eggs and little callbacks with other characters coming in. That's fun. And I think that they use them in a great way. Are all the connections needed? No, but it's fun and it works well. It's not wasted. I think it's like, okay, this is fun to have this on here and just bring it back. They throw in a thing about the rabbit's foot in the third film, which you thought it was one thing, but it ends up being the entity in some way.
Retcon.
It's like retcon. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like they're using, it's not just characters, but they're using things that drove the plot of another film and said that actually this is really for this. Like, that was a neat little thing they did there. So I liked how they tried to incorporate the whole picture of the series into the film as best as they could.
God, sorry Jeremy Renner didn't come back. Relax, Bill. Damn, dude.
It was sad.
To kind of touch on what you said too, I mean, I think they really did try to make the AI seem more devastating than it was. I mean, they had like cults being done. It was like affecting people and like crowds of people. So they really did try to make it the enemy, even though they didn't have like a physical being of it being an enemy. So I think it worked for me, but I could see how that could be lesser than some of the previous films with an actual physical person that's there to kind of combat, Ethan
I mean, I would
directly.
think like a nuclear fallout would be the worst case scenario.
Right.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
But, I mean, sure, Damien was
Ended
pretty
right
scary.
there. Yeah, we could have ended at Fallout and been done, but yeah.
Well, let's go into some of the characters. James, what do you think about Ethan and his kind of progression?
He's Jesus, man. What do you mean?
He's the Messiah, guys.
He's a Jesus character. He can't die. He's impossible.
Oh,
He's cool, man. I mean, he's definitely showing his age finally, guys. Like it's supposed to only be 2 months from the last film, but it's like you've aged 3 years, Ethan. What happened?
His hair grew pretty long for 2 months, huh?
It was definitely something where we've been watching it for like 30 years at this point, which is crazy, right? So it's just one of those things where he's the man, dude. If anybody can get the job done, it's him, and that's why Erica Sloane calls him in, and she knows like these. Even Kittredge is like he's our only option, even though I don't like the guy, and that's how they have to kind of go with it. And it's crazy, man. He's a Tom Cruise and Ethan Hunt are one and the same, in my opinion. So
yeah,
it's like you see these stunts happening. It's like this is insane because like he's actually doing them. I think that's like hopefully that's not something that's gonna be lost in the future for future stuff. So it's pretty awesome still seeing him. In this one, I think they did a really good job. Like I said, if this is the last one, they do a pretty good job sending him off.
Yeah, I'll kind of open it up here for everybody. Did you guys have any other characters that you liked or wanted to kind of talk about a little bit?
most of them kind of felt like they were kind of set to the side on this one and to kind of let Ethan shine in his last hurrah, which I forgive because of that, because we're not sure if Tom Cruise is going to come back for another one or not. But I think Benji still shines and still is a standout because of just how reliable he is. And just like you would think just looking at him, like he's not a capable agent, but he really is. And Ethan is sort of setting him up in this to kind of like be a leader in the team.
Yeah. He does it like twice where he's like, look after your team.
Yeah, and looking back on it, like he really has come clutch ever since he was introduced into the series. He's gotten Ethan out of impossible situations. He's both techie enough and also great in the field enough to, be able to handle what it is they have to do. I think
he's the Emilio Estevez character from the first film.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. Yeah. I wish they would have had more for Haley Atwell to do. Grace, she seemed really well in the first Dead Reckoning. Just, a great new character and / love interest, I guess, for Ethan. But even she, I felt, was kind of put to the side and really didn't have much to add until like the very end.
I would say I feel like this is more of a team dynamic in this one. Like, there are Tom Cruise stuff, but it kind of focuses on what the team has to get done with. Because then you even get like Theo joins the team this one. We get Paris as well, which is kind of cool. It's like a bad guy turned good. I always like to see that in movies.
Yeah.
And you even get Don Lowe from the first movie, the guy that had diarrhea the whole time, which is crazy.
They do.
I feel like he was just going to be like a quick cameo, but I'm like, from one point forward, I'm like, no, he's part of the team now, I guess. Like, what the hell's going on here? This is crazy.
He has the most arc of the rest of the team, really. Like, which I enjoyed. I'm okay with that.
It's kind of funny. He's just like, yeah, no, it's okay. Like, he finally meets Ethan, like, officially. And he's like, I met my wife here. It's okay. I would have never met her. I'm like, hey, thanks for having a positive attitude, for being in the middle of nowhere.
I think some of the lesser characters actually did a really good job too. I think Angela Bassett as the president did a good job.
Yeah.
Bledsoe and Neely, the captains of the ship and the submarine that he kind of goes through, they have very small roles, but they're played well. They have some comedic value.
Like, really, like, I was like, I guess I just need someone famous for this role, I guess.
I love Jack Bledsoe, dude. Tremel Tillman, I'm a huge fan of Severance, and he's incredible in that show. And to see him in this, I think he was perfect for that role, dude. And
that's crazy that he's like, let's do some hood rat shit. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, what the fuck's going on here, man?
Still rocking the mustache from the show too, and it worked because he's freaking submarine captain. The dive team was actually pretty cool too, man. Honestly, I would, man, if they had like a little spin-off series of just that dive team, I'd be all in.
I was like, it wouldn't make any money, but okay, yeah, cool.
No, I know.
I was like, no, stop now, Margo.
We'll make it a TV series.
Read a book about it, maybe. I don't know.
Well, what do you guys think of the overall look of the film? We got through some of the characters here, so you guys have anything to say about the look overall? I'll start with Nabil here.
Oh God, I think the underwater scenes were just beautiful. Just you really felt the darkness, him being alone, the
darkness.
Yeah, it was just everything in that whole thing. It was just, I mean, the only word I think of is like it was captivating. You were just in there. You knew that he was going through something, and you don't know if he's going to come out of it. And just going through that whole motion of like each section of the submarine, and part of it underwater, part of it not in the water, the missiles, like the whole thing. It was
keeps spinning too.
Yeah, like
I know a junkyard guy named Watto. He would call it tantalizing.
I think that was like one of the best visually appealing parts of the film, just how they shot that, and it was just so well. And I mean, all the stunt set pieces were great as a whole, but that one I think really just was. I was in awe when that started going in. I was like, oh, we're gonna go. Because we spent so much time with it too. It wasn't just like he's going underwater and he's going to come out. Like they were in there for I think 30 minutes of the film.
Dude, I have a fear of deep water, and that scene had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was just like, I would just be like, you know what, mission failed, guys. I guess it is impossible. Sorry. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit.
It felt very claustrophobic, like how they shot it. Just the whole thing was like very claustrophobic.
That's what I got
out of it.
Pretty sure, yeah.
So it's pretty nice.
So when he comes in the room and there's just missiles just like torpedoes just laying down like, uh-oh. I didn't realize, by the way, when that happened, that was like set in 2012. I had always thought that the submarine went down like around the same time, but it'd been down for like 13 or 14 years. I was like, I didn't realize that.
I felt this. I caught that too, and I was wondering if that was a retcon from the last film, because I felt like it was. I don't remember them saying the year.
They might have never said the year, honestly. Yeah. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, it was longer than we thought.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Well, we've already been talking about the action and the stunts kind of extensively here, so let's get into our review so we can kind of get into some of the spoilers and talk about some of the things that they revealed.
I want to bring up one thing before we do that, though. The biplane scene is amazing, by the way.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, like, for sure.
Intense.
It's lengthy too, and it's super intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that again you mentioned it's really him.
It's really him
too.
doing it too for probably like 95% of it all. So, just saying that biplane scene is, even though it's biplanes don't go that fast. They only go like 60 miles an hour, but the closer you are to the ground, it appears to go faster.
To me.
No, he said they go from anywhere from 90 to like 140 miles an hour.
He also believes in an alien god, so I mean,
yeah, true.
Talk about
that. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Well, we are going to get into some spoilers here. So if you don't want to be spoiled before you see this movie, I'd say just go see this movie. But before we do the spoilers here, actually, let's get into our ratings and see if we would recommend this movie. We'll kind of go around here. Marco, what'd you rate this movie?
I give this one 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend this one. I know Nabil said it holds your hand at the beginning, but hey, at least you don't have to watch the previous one really to watch this one.
But highly recommended to watch.
Oh,
it.
100%. 100%.
James?
I also give it 4 stars. I think it's a solid finale for the franchise, if that's what we're looking at here. I think it's full of action. If you're a fan of the franchise, I'm saying a lot of F words right now. Good God. If you're a fan of the franchise, definitely give it a look. If you're not a fan, it's not going to change your mind, in my opinion. But if you like the other previous films, give this one a watch.
For sure. Nabil?
I also gave this 4 stars, and I mean, honestly, just watching the films for the action set pieces alone is worth it. Even if you ignore the story, just seeing the 2 big ones that happen near the end of the film, worth the entry to admission.
Yeah, we hit the quadfecta on this one. We all gave it 4s, so it's kind of nice. So yeah, I gave it 4 as well. I agree with what you guys said. It's action set pieces alone are, in my opinion, enough to watch this movie. But it's also got a pretty good storyline. It encaps the whole series of 8 films pretty well. So just check this one out if you can. Definitely recommend. All right, well, let's get into some spoilers. So if you don't want, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to hear some spoilers, kind of jump ahead, see what we're going to be doing next. But let's get into it. So first off here, we kind of got one of them already. Nabil kind of talked about the rabbit's foot earlier and how it's kind of like a early version
slow
of
down there, buddy. Spoiling shit.
It was fine.
yeah, I mean, it's a
I won't
small one, so it's
remember
not too bad. But some of the bigger ones here, like Luther actually, kind of dies. Not kind of. He actually
kinda
he's dead.
dies.
Yeah. So
They do start it out with like. Well, by the way, there are like quite a few plot holes that they never kind of explain shit with. I noticed this movie.
Did he get cancer at the beginning of this film? Did we know about it in the previous film? I was like, I don't remember him.
Honestly, I thought it was just a diabetes falling back because of all the shit he'd been eating. Every time I seen him,
I
get
can't
bigger and
sit
bigger.
down anymore at a computer, guys. Just kill me off.
They showed him sitting down in front of the computer, and I thought of James immediately.
He said the diabetes got me. I ain't looking too good, boys. Yeah, I was like, holy shit, is he sick? And I was like, this is fucking sad.
Yeah.
I do like how they use him, and he has conveniently has a message on that pill for him too when it's used, and it kind of just tells him like, keep living life, brother. Like it's kind of like, don't be James Bond. You're meant for this kind of shit. So,
But what if he failed and Gabriel used it? So then Gabriel would have heard the
Gabriel
message
would've been
and was
like, this is
what
weird.
the fuck?
Yeah, it was like, oh, yeah. That would have been a real Richie moment. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it's because it's a movie. He already knows. I mean, why
He
didn't he
just
take
has
the
faith
rabbits?
in Ethan,
Why
that's
didn't he
all.
take the damn poison pill with him to begin with?
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
should've just took it with
that
him.
dude's like pretty sick. I'd probably grab that. So before his Filipino nurse gets murdered.
Oh,
why didn't you just take the thing with him?
yeah. I mean,
Why did he
kinda
leave it with
should've.
Luther? It makes no sense. To
Or
me.
at least had Benji
Because he
take
had a
it, right?
Filipino nurse there to watch over him, Mikey. What are you saying? They're not as qualified as other nurses to watch people?
I'm just saying, with something that's world ending, you probably want to, not give it with the guy
Mikey,
that's going to
he
die.
was in the sewers, bro. Just to let you know.
Yeah, basically.
That was the sewers.
No one could find
So I once again though, it is cool with like the rabbit's foot. They connected like, oh, that was like a really early version of the entity. So technically, like, Ethan, you're the cause of all this.
it. Yeah.
Basically, to save one life, he doomed the Earth. All jokes aside, with the whole Luther thing, it was still kind of sad to see him go. I get it. He's
Yeah.
aged out of the movie, but
Yeah, and I knew like there's no way, even if he was to cut it out, I'm like, he's not fast enough to get out of there.
No way. I'm
No,
glad
I'm a
he said
little-
it too. He's like, it ain't gonna happen. I gotta stay
Yeah,
behind.
he knew already. He's like, yeah, you got like, dude. They were almost talking a little too long. I was like, yo, you gotta get going, dude. That thing's about to
Right.
go, dude.
he wants to run fast. That's why.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta get my Tom Cruise run in here somehow.
He did it a couple times in this one.
Yeah.
Couple times.
Oh yeah, quite a few times.
Still got it, man. He still has that full on sprint mode.
Well, we also figure out that Jasper Briggs, he's trying to hunt down Ethan. He actually is Jim Phelps Jr., which is connected to, I think, the first film, right? It's the first one.
Yeah.
That and the technically television series, but yeah.
Yeah. So he's actually the son of him. So
John Voight's character.
yeah, John Voight. Mm-hmm.
But apparently he's like, I didn't know my father.
My dad was a piece of shit, so
Yeah.
it's
He's
fine.
like, he left us early on, and then he
No, yeah,
blew
He
up
died
with-
when he was 7.
blew up
something
with
like that.
whenever there's gum. Someone put gum on his thing.
Don't know what
I
that's
think
about.
it worked, but I mean, it's kind of like, oh man,
It
you're
was
really gonna retcon
unnecessary.
that, but yeah,
It was
unnecessary.
unnecessary.
But
Did you like?
I'll take it.
It was funny when they shook hands. I looked over at Mikey and said, they did a bro hug almost. I was thinking the same thing.
Did it look a little awkward? Like, oh, we're
They were
doing
like
this.
shake hands and they were like this. And then I looked over at Mikey. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
That's trust.
No, that's like a thanks, brother.
Oh man.
That was a Gimli Legolas moment. I didn't just gain a friend. I gained a brother.
Toss me.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on the ending? I mean, they just kind of this elaborate thing where they have a bomb and they got to defuse it, and then the whole.
So Mission Impossible, Mikey.
Always a bomb.
It is, yeah. And then Dunn has to, he's hurt and can't do the stuff himself, so he's telling Atwell how to do it. And then
Yeah.
they all have to time all this stuff together with Ethan getting the thing slid into the hard drive, right? So it's like pretty elaborate. But what are you guys' thoughts on that ending here?
It was cool, man.
I mean, I just want to say that I think if this is going to be the pseudo final, maybe not. Who knows what Tom Cruise is going to do? I kind of they gave us so many of those like fake outs of everybody. These people are about to die.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they did.
You know,
I even thought
Benji
Theo
looked
died
like
at the end. I was like, did
Yeah.
Theo die?
Theo, Benji, even Donlo's, trying to make the run. Like they were
Yeah,
all supposed to.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, he's really old though. I don't know if he can make that in 10
Right.
seconds. I was like,
But
trust me.
they
I've
did a
made it
good
10.
job at setting that up, Nabil, with just killing off Luther right there. And then you're like, oh, see, they can kill anyone.
Oh, I
Anything's
agree.
possible. Yeah, anything's
And
possible.
I
just
think
kind of
that's- that's probably why they did it, honestly, or because there wasn't enough chairs in the film for him to sit in.
I'm tired, Ethan.
I would have liked to see them die, to be honest, and then leave it with just Ethan, and then kind of him going alone and saying, they all sacrificed for the mission and walked away.
No,
Rather
that's
than
not that
all
kind of.
going
It's
back,
not,
but
it's
it's
not
not-
that kind of franchise, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with how it ended, but it would have been nice to kind
relax,
of
John
cap
Wick.
it off. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy for the somewhat hopeful ending, unlike Nabil, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really like the
thought
Benji
Gabriel
part.
dying was
Right?
hilarious.
Who was
He's
that?
like, ha ha. Gabriel's like, I've got the only one.
Yeah.
Ah!
That
Oh,
was funny
dude,
how
I
he
was
died.
dying. I was
Everyone
dying,
was
like-
dying in our theater. I was
Yeah,
like,
dude.
ooh, he got his head sliced
Just-
open.
Yeah. He just, dude, I thought he chased him to go grab his parachute at first when he jumped out. I was like, oh, he's going to steal his parachute.
It is
but
kind of
no.
like, there's no more parachutes. And then he's like, yeah, there is. It's right here.
Yeah, I was like,
I was
but
like,
there's
looked at
always
him, I was
two.
Maybe you didn't know everything, Gabriel, you
I
dumbass.
do, yeah, I do agree with the bill that he was sidelined. I get that the entity was the bigger threat, and I do like
that guy
that.
had
But
so much nuclear bombs, by the way. How the fuck was he
Yeah.
hiding those into Paris?
Apparently
He's
an
like,
arms dealer.
for real,
Or into the apocalypse bunker? He's like, oops, guess what? Got another one. I'd be like, how much fucking plutonium do you got, man?
for real though. Oh, you can buy the black market, I guess.
Well, I
don't know.
mean,
Yeah, but
the
does
world's
he
in
get into
chaos.
Paris?
The world's in chaos. He can do whatever the hell he wants to.
Yeah, if he's using, if the entity, well, yeah, the entity wasn't
No,
on
and he
his
wasn't
at
on
the
his side
time.
anymore. He's like, I have it
Yeah.
left over from
He's-
previous people.
Well, I mean,
this
Facebook
is-
Marketplace,
Luther was in the
Facebook Facebook Marketplace is getting weird.
I do wish he hadn't disappeared for like the middle
He's
act, but
gone
I
for most
get
of it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, like it was cool that he was like kind of like a red herring for the first movie, that he's the big bad, but it turns out it's the entity. But that's really my only real complaint. I like the humanistic nature that Ethan took with this, where it's like it's no government really is like quote unquote the good guy. It's humanity that's the good guy, and he's trying to save it, and the entity is the one that's going to destroy it, so he's got to stop it. So I do like that, he prevailed and gave like humanity as a whole like that hope. So I agree with
It
James.
is funny though, like Haley Atwell's character's like, she's like, you're the only one that can control it, Ethan, because you're Jesus.
Right?
Like,
That
you
was a
know me
little
for
like
3
Andy,
months.
I was like,
all right, Tom, get your ego out of here for a little
Yeah.
bit, you bastard.
Yeah.
He's like, who's gonna control a power like that? Like, only you.
yeah.
Pretty cool USB, by the way. Never seen that kind, boys.
It's 5D. It's a one of a kind, and the only man that can make it died.
Multiple terabytes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Benji made the
I don't
glowy,
remember
the glowy
honestly.
USB drive.
I thought Benji made it too.
Nabil might be right.
I think it was Luther.
I don't know.
One
I
of a
mean,
kind.
Luther had a lot of time, boys.
I guess we're gonna have to go watch the movie again, find out.
Yeah, that's right.
Bet.
Well, what about you guys? You guys want to see maybe a reboot or any kind of continuation from this movie? You want to see something different happen? You want to see Ethan Hunt return? What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean,
I'll leave it
Tom
open.
Cruise said that this is his last one, supposedly, right? But maybe it's just I think if we do see one, it wouldn't be for like a while, and it'd be like an older Tom Cruise coming back, probably. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I mean-
mind. I wouldn't mind seeing another one. But I mean, I'm just greedy like that. I get it. But
That's kind of what I was thinking, where he comes back and he's in charge of the IMF and he sends the agents out and he's sort of like the point person. But
I was talking to Mikey after the movie. It would be that, or there's like a new agent that reminds him of him, kind of. When they're butting heads, he's like, "You're old school. This isn't how things work no more." You know, I'm like, whoa. But
at the same time, how many times can you capture lightning in a bottle? You know, it's like I want it to stay good like this and not kind
that's
of
what I'm
derail.
saying. I think he'd only come back if it was like, you know, like a proper thing. And like he's up there in age now. He's like in his early 60s, right? So it's not like it would have to, if it's a reboot too, it'd have to be somebody that's willing to do some pretty crazy stuff, but can still somewhat act and do a pretty intriguing story. I don't think they can get someone that, because they're always going to be compared to Tom Cruise at this point, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
it's
I
gonna
mean,
be
I don't
really
know if
hard.
I think it's fine to have Tom Cruise be in a more supporting role and maybe shepherd the story forward a little bit, and like because the story is also really solid as a whole for the series. Like each movie has a really good espionage aspect of it, and so
Just not the
if
second
we
one.
can- yeah, exactly. He's trying to do something different with Langley. But as a whole, I think that if he was still a part of the films and they did find somebody that maybe not be another Ethan Hunt, but like they did with Jeremy Renner, but maybe not Jeremy Renner, somebody
No,
that kind of brings
he's
in
getting pretty old too.
nice.
They missed
Yeah.
that. They missed that slot by a while.
Yeah, he's kind of, and
He was originally. I remember there was rumors he was supposed to take over.
and then they kind of X'd him on Rogue Nation and said,
And they were like,
we
you
don't
know
need him
what?
anymore."
You're doing
But you're
okay.
a Hawkeye.
You're doing okay with that Hawkeye guy, right? I think you're doing all right.
Yeah.
You're doing all
But
right.
yeah, if Cruise stays on as executive producer along with Christopher McQuarrie, I think they could still do the series justice and find the right people, because he's really good at finding teams like that. But
I think
that'd
it's
be-
Mark,
still be
I think
tough.
I think it's just that he wants to do other things too right now. He's got like that
Yeah.
space movie he wants to do. He's doing a World War II movie coming up. He just wants to do other things.
yeah,
He's been working on the Mission Impossible stuff since the last two, at least he was doing it during COVID. So this has been like half a decade to get out these last two movies. And I think it's taken a lot out of him. So
Honestly, I'm okay with no more. It's really good the way it is now. There's 8 films in this movie. There's a really good progression between them. The middle 3 are absolutely fantastic. I just watched them last week when I was catching up for stuff. And the
Fully
final
nude.
2 are really good. And I mean, it's just overall, it's just a really good series. And I don't think they need to add to it. This is a good ending. Just leave it as this being ended.
yeah, but
And if he does come back, I want it to be a limited role and not really be a continuation, but more of a reboot.
But he has the entity in his pocket now. He's Jesus,
What are we
Mikey.
gonna do with it?
he's walking on water now.
He's got God in his hands.
He can cure cancers. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, you guys have any other final thoughts about the movie before we end?
Just go see it. Go
Yeah,
see it on
see
the
this-
biggest screen if you can afford it. It's well worth it.
Do a double feature. Do that in Lilo and Stitch. Trust me. You'll thank me later.
Stitch Impossible.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it, Jimmy. Relax.
Lilo and Stitch was really good, by the way. So.
It was. All right, guys. So that's the end of the podcast. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Marco, can you let them know how they can follow us?
You can listen and follow us on your preferred podcast platform. We are everywhere. For a convenient link to all our social media channels, visit linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And remember, smash that subscribe button and you'll never miss an episode, because this one will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Catch us on TikTok for sneak peeks of upcoming episodes and more exciting movie content. Follow us on Movie Pals Pod.
And make sure to tune in for our next episode, podcast episode number 200.
Woo!
We made it, guys. We made it. Look at us. We're still here. Still friends. Still pals.
We ate a little bit at Jimmy's soul, but we made it.
Yeah. I mean, James has lost a little piece of him every episode, but
I have a lot
we
of
still
gray
love
hair
him.
now. I have a lot of gray hair now.
Where we're going to be reviewing the new John Wick spinoff, Ballerina, as well as a special mystery segment, maybe a film or a new topic to discuss, something special for all of you.
Thank you, Nabil. Until next time, this is James.
Marco?
Nabil.
And Mikey.
Have a good one.